After going through countless YouTube videos and articles telling me the best way to display amiibos, coming up with different solutions, I'm still just not that sold on any of them. And then I came up with an idea. What if I took like a franchise within Super Smash Brothers, because most of my amiibos are from the Super Smash Brothers line of figures. So what if I took one franchise and focused on that from within the Smash Brothers universe, and then picked a stage for that franchise? Kirby, say. Let's just do Kirby, because Kirby only has, I believe, 3 figures from the Smash Brothers line, so that worked well. Well, what if we took one stage from Smash Brothers that's Kirby related, and then just made it out of the cheapest materials that we can find, and just choosing the path of least resistance and see what we come up with? It's worth a shot.
I start by placing my amiibos on top of what's going to be the ground, and then just make circles around them, around the bases of the amiibo figures. What I'm using is XPS foam. It's something that can be found in most hobby stores, at least the ones I've been to, or you can find them online. It's going to be the most expensive material that we're going to use for this. Next up, I've cut small pieces of the foam out and then sanded them down so that they fit together. This is going to serve as our foundation. And then it's just a matter of gluing them all together. Make sure that you press them together once that you've applied the glue so that they actually stick together, or unless, they'll fall apart if you don't. And here we have it. This is the piece right here. This is what we're going to be working with. And I tried sanding down the holes because I just wanted to create, like indentations, but that wasn't really possible with this material, so I ended up just cutting it. It worked really well though, because the height of the ground piece is actually the same height as the base that the amiibos are standing on, so that works really well. What I've done here is that I've marked the areas I want to stay away from when I'm painting. I've done this just using a pencil, and you got to be careful when you're doing that if you decide to do that, because it's going to create grooves if you apply too much pressure, and those grooves are going to be visible even when you're done painting. So you got to be careful with that. Those kind of oval shaped ones you see right there, those are going to be the pebbles, and then the line in the middle, that's going to be the dirt path that you see in the middle of the stage. I'm using acrylic paint, which my girlfriend was kind enough to let me use. It's actually all her paint. I don't own any, so she was kind enough to let me use hers, so that was good. I've used green or dark green as a base coloring, and then I've dabbed a lighter green color on top of it to give it that look. And here it's done. You can see this is what it's going to look like, and I've finished the foundation part too, which is what I call the waffle part. It kind of looks like a waffle. I found this mini fence in a store. It cost me like $3. So I counted them, and it's 5 fence posts. So that's what I'm going to be using. Removing one of the wires holding them together. We only really need one to create this. And then I'm cutting off the top part because the fence posts are flat all the way through, so we don't need that shape on the top there. The good thing about doing this during Christmas, or this close to Christmas anyway, is that you'll be able to find a lot of cool stuff in stores that sell miniature stuff like this, Christmas decorations and stuff like that. So it was easy to find. Now I'm just gonna place it between the 2 trees here, The middle tree is not the one I'll be using, so don't worry. It was just one that I created in the beginning, and I tried to hollow out the eyes and the mouth. It didn't work too well. Small pieces of the foam kept falling out, so the hole just kept getting bigger and bigger. So yeah, that's just a tree that I'm using for the time being. It's gonna be replaced. So yeah, there's the fence all set up. The next part is gonna be the foliage. All the leaves here on top of the trees, and that is actually something that I kind of went back and forth on. I didn't know what I wanted to do with this, because you can see at the edges, you can see all the individual leaves. That is not something I'm comfortable trying to do. I don't think I can pull that off, so I'm just gonna make a foliage type shape using my hobby knife here. This is this type of knife you can find in any type of hobby store, and you can change the blades too. So right now I'm using a more rounded blade. It's going to be easy, make it easier to cut the round shapes out. This type of hobby knife, this particular knife, I actually got for $5, I believe, and that's including all the different blades that came with it. So yeah, you can get them dirt cheap. And once I'm done cutting out the shape here, the top part of the trees, my girlfriend actually gave me the idea to make another one, an identical one, and I don't have a knife that's deep enough that can just cut two at a time, so I had to cut the first one out first, and then I just drew around it and then cut around that too. So now I got two identical ones. And the reason for doing that is that it's going to help balance the piece. Instead of having the trees supporting the whole weight of the leaves, we can have two of them and then glue them together. That's going to make it more balanced, and it's going to hold better. And here I've cut out indentations for the trees. It will allow the two shapes to get right on top of each other, right next to each other, so it's going to be easier. And here's the old tree, and here's the new one. This is the one I will be using. Looks way more like the actual one in Dreamland, so I'm happy with that. Here you can see the part I was talking about earlier. Now this will allow me to actually glue these two pieces together. It's going to hold much better. My girlfriend once again comes to the rescue. She had these sequins laying around, and I've glued two pieces together to create stars, and these are going to be the stars that you see in between the leaves on top of the tree. Finally, I cut out 3 squares that's going to be glued directly underneath the holes, so that the amiibos have something to stand on, or else they're just gonna fall right through. So it wasn't really necessary to paint these, but I figured, I mean, because they are gonna be covered most of the time, but I figured it might add a little extra touch if I do. So that's really the whole reason I did that. I've also finished making the bushes, and the glue is going to be removed, the excess glue you can see there, and also I've made some changes to the flower arrangements, as you can see. I've also moved the yellow sequin, the middle one, or star, so that it matches more the actual stage. Here I've got a bag of pipe cleaners. I got a lighter green one and a darker green one. The lighter ones are going to be in front and the darker ones in the back. And I also found this bag of flowers. Those are going to be placed on top of the stems here. So I just dab a little glue on top, and then I push the end of the wire through the small hole of the plastic flower, like so. And then it's just a matter of bending it so that it's facing forward. And there you go.